Honored guests, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the singing of the national anthem performed by the member of the class of 2021, Veronica Merrill. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. The President of the University, James E. Ryan.
Good afternoon, Mr. Rector, members of the Board of Visitors, graduates, colleagues, family, and friends. Welcome, and a special welcome to all who are watching this by live stream. My name is Jim Ryan, and in addition to being the president of UVA, I am the host for today's ceremony, and I will officially award the degrees. It's exciting to me to think that we are sharing a unique moment in UVA history. You are graduating in Scott Stadium. I am fulfilling a lifelong dream. I am on the Jumbotron in the end zone of Scott Stadium with the football. And I will say it's my second touchdown of the day, just to be. So I have to be honest with you, I feel like this moment is a bit miraculous, not because you're graduating, we expected that, but given all the stops and starts we've had to endure, the plans made, the plans scrapped, hopes raised, and hopes dashed, just to get to this moment. Believe me when I say I could not be happier or more grateful to be here right now with all of you. And if you feel the same way, please let us know. So today marks the end of our 192nd academic session. These final exercises are the university's most joyful occasion, at least since the men's basketball team won the national championship. We are here today to confer degrees on the candidates from the School of Architecture, the School of Continuing and Professional Studies, the School of Data Science, and the School of Engineering and Applied Science. They've got you outnumbered, it looks like. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge the lives lost and people who are no longer with us because of the pandemic. I'd also like to recognize members of our leadership team who have retired or who are taking on new roles. Pat Lampkin, Vice President for Student Affairs, Alan Groves, Dean of Students, Craig Benson, Dean of the School of Engineering, Isla Berman, Dean of the School of Architecture, Betsy Daly, Associate Vice President for State Government Relations and Special Assistant to the President, and David Wilkes, Dean of the School of Medicine. Each of these leaders has shaped this university in profound ways, and I'm grateful to them for their service. Please join me in a round of applause to thank them. I'd also like to acknowledge that some of our student athletes who are on the road can't be with us. Members of the men's baseball team, the men's lacrosse team, and the women's golf team are competing on the road today, and we wish them the very best of luck. Our music today is provided by the U.S. Army Training and Doctrine Command Band under the direction of Treg Anchelet. Please join me in a round of applause for them, as well as for the members of the Army ROTC who presented the colors. I would especially like to thank and congratulate all the parents and grandparents, brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles, family and friends in the audience today, whether here or virtually. Together, you have supported these graduates in countless ways, including financially, emotionally, and gastronomically. You've helped pay tuition, you've offered encouragement, and you've fed them when they're home on break. My guess is that some of you may still be helping out with laundry. Today is your day too, which is why I'd like to ask all the graduates to stand, turn toward the audience, and give a huge round of applause to those who helped you on this journey. I'd also like to thank the staff who worked hard all year and who have worked tirelessly to make graduation special for all involved. And I'd like to thank the faculty who have served not simply as teachers, but also as mentors and friends. Please join me in giving our faculty and staff a huge round of applause. Finally, and most importantly, congratulations to the class of 2021. I hope and trust that you will look back on your time here as among the most important, enjoyable, engaging, and transformative experiences of your lives. You are leaving this community stronger than you found it, and I have no doubt that you will make the world beyond UVA a better place. I'd also like to offer a personal thanks for your patience, for your strength, for your service, and for your leadership, especially during this past year. I have seen this class step up in countless ways that have brought joy, support, and comfort to your classmates and to our entire community. For your selfless actions, generosity, humor, and creativity, which brought light to grounds even during our most challenging moments. Thank you. It has been a true privilege to serve as your president. I will have a few more words to share with you at the end of the ceremony, but for now, let us begin this ancient and honorable ritual through which we shall recognize and welcome you into the company of superbly educated citizen leaders. Thank you.
The rector of the university, James B. Murray, Jr.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the board, congratulations. Above all else, first and foremost, and for everlasting time, congratulations. Big day, day of your life. You don't get cake this day each year, but this is the day when your life got seriously interesting. Interesting, that is, in the sense that all unknowable things are interesting. You've had some interesting experiences already. March 2020, and the world tells you, go inside, put on a mask, don't travel, and don't mingle. Whatever you do, don't mingle. Oh, and by the way, we can't tell you what's going to happen to your graduation. Things got interesting around the time of my graduation day here, but in different ways. 1968, April 4, Dr. King shot in Memphis. 2 months later, 4 days before our graduation, June 5th, Bobby Kennedy shot in Los Angeles. 53 years ago, we had our own version of collective trauma, a war in Vietnam, a war in which many UVA graduates participated, whether they wanted to or not. So yes, life throws many curves. You've learned that already, but it's all relative. On my graduation day, what did I have in my pocket? My pocket knife and my truck keys, I think. What do you have? The world. That little computer you're clutching, the whole messy world is right there. And try not to look at it while I'm talking. You don't need to text your aunt right now. That machine, that phone, that technology, like cars first appearing on dusty dirt roads and airplanes suddenly crossing the skies, has fundamentally changed life. You and the world communicating continuously. Well, pass this message on. Time goes quicker than ever, and you best manage it well. Years ago, there was a film with some dialogue written by Truman Capote, and one of the characters says, time? What is time? I say time is a crook. Well, if time is a crook, technology is an accessory to the crime. Make sound choices with your time. That's my best advice, and I have more. Enjoy life, but fix a portion of your time for more learning. UVA helped you get to this point, but you really cannot stop anymore. There's no walking away, not anymore. No walking away from new things. Things you'll need to know, to learn, to understand. The mobile digital world of social media, on-demand entertainment, and nonstop anxiety-driven news will continuously vie for your attention for the rest of your lives. Which of you will succeed? Who will struggle? My prediction, those of you who manage your time, those with time discipline, you will come out ahead. Discipline, you ask? Why not declare victory today? That would rob you of a lot of opportunities, unprecedented opportunities. So spend time with your families, get outdoors, have fun, fall in love, play, party, but keep learning. At some point, you may be tempted to stop. Stop what you've been doing here. Stop learning. Mistake. Don't do it. Don't ever stop. Use the technical power you're inheriting. Use technology for good. Seek new knowledge, always. Then seek some more for the rest of your life. And finally, come back to Charlottesville. You'll be welcome here forever. Circle back, you must. And tell us things you've seen, the glories of your life. Bring us lessons, new knowledge. Come tell us some stories. And good luck with it all. Like war tripped up our classes of 50 years ago, COVID tripped you up a bit. No question, but we prevailed. More accurately, you have already prevailed. Given the strength you've gained, no UVA class yet has richer promise than you. Spend your time wisely and you will own the future. My main duty today is to introduce our keynote speaker, and I'm most honored to do so. Our speaker is best known outside of UVA for two big things: as the co-founder of Reddit and as Serena Williams' husband. But here at UVA, we know Alexis Ohanian as one of our most successful, influential, and engaged alumni. Alexis has 2 degrees from UVA in commerce and in history. In addition to Reddit, Ohanian has co-founded an early-stage venture fund called Initialize Capital, and he is now launching a new fund called 776. As a venture capitalist myself, I hope we'll hear more about it. Ohanian describes himself as the son of an undocumented immigrant and as business dad. He says he wants to be known for making this world better, much better, and has advocated for federally mandated paid family leave and for dads to use that leave to take an active role in raising their children. He has a Business Dad podcast in which he interviews dads about their experiences balancing families and careers. And he and Serena have a daughter, Olympia, who's 3.5. One action he took in his quest to make a better world: after the murder of George Floyd, Ohanian stepped down from the board of Reddit and encouraged Reddit to ban hate communities and replace him on the board with a black director, both of which they did. He has pledged his future earnings from Reddit to be used to serve the black community and to combat violence based on racially motivated hate, starting with a $1 million donation to Know Your Rights Camp, founded by Colin Kaepernick. Ohanian is also the proud co-owner of the National Women's Soccer League's future LA team, Angel City FC, along with, among others, actor Natalie Portman, his daughter Olympia, and our own Board of Visitors member, former UVA and U.S. national team star and 2-time Olympic gold medalist, Angela Huclas Mangano. Angela tells me that seat deposits for the 22 Angel City season are now available. Please welcome Alexis Ohanian.
Thank you, Rector Murray. UVA graduating class of 2021, I am very excited to be here. And if I'm being honest, I barely got in here in the first place. And if it weren't for early decision applications and a retake of my SAT, I don't think I'd be a Wahoo. Fortunately, though, I was. And I was here on grounds during, I think it was my second year, when I walked out of an LSAT that I was taking in order to go get breakfast at Waffle House on 29. That place is amazing for waffles and epiphanies. You see, because while I was there in booth 19, I decided I probably shouldn't be a lawyer if I walked out of the LSAT, and instead, I should start a startup. So if it weren't for being hungry, I don't think I'd have ever started Reddit and wouldn't be here either. But luckily, 16 years ago, I was right where you are, hungover and waiting for a graduation speaker to get their commencement speech over with. I knew I was going to start a company, but even then I didn't know how it would work other than front page of the internet. and then I had a mascot, which I created while I was bored in a class at McIntyre. True story. Very little in your life will make sense as it's happening. You'll kind of connect all these dots of meaning later when you look back on it. And spoiler alert, graduates, this day is not for you. It's really for the people who helped get you here. I didn't realize that until many years after my mom had died. But what I have now are the photos of her that day and how ridiculously proud she was. She had given up a career to overstay her work visa here in America because of love. She ended up with a GED and a son whom she always told could do anything. And she was so proud, you would have thought she was the one graduating here 16 years ago. I never could have guessed that she would have been diagnosed with terminal brain cancer just a few months into starting Reddit. But all of the very best parts of me and any of the good things that I've contributed to Reddit or anything, really, they're thanks to her. So take that time. Gosh, take that time to hug, take that time to appreciate every single person who helped get you here. All right? Do that. You will not regret it. Thank them. Tell them you love them. Really, really mean it. Because you're going to have so many moments in your life that you won't be able to get back. And this is one of those really special ones. So that's an easy one. You're not going to regret that decision. There's some free advice. I guarantee you're going to appreciate it later. And it actually speaks to a bigger thing, which is those people and the experiences they had and you had with them. Those are the things that matter. And I got to learn this firsthand as a 21-year-old because my mom was faced with, a limited window. She knew how many years she had left, and those are the things that people care about when they face that end. So please invest in people and experiences. And, not a lot of people realize this. Actually, I don't think I've told anyone this. The Reddit alien started having these little doodles in the top corner. You see, my mom, she did her best to be supportive, even going through chemo and that really torturous process. And so whenever we'd talk on the phone, she'd have read Reddit, even though the content was really not anything she was into, to try to make conversation and just, share an interest in my work. So I wanted to make it a little easier on her. So I started drawing a fun doodle every morning in the logo. So like this little canvas of 120 by 40 pixels. I would just draw these doodles, kind of like how Google does for holidays. I would just do them for holidays, but also just for no reason every day. And of these adventures of like space travel or snowball fights. And I had this little canvas where I would spend 30 minutes a day drawing and creating. And it was very cathartic. It was really the only therapy that I got during those years. And it shouldn't have been, but it was. And it turned out what I was creating with those hundreds of designs was something that was really special for our users, for our community. I have countless people telling me how much they enjoyed coming to the site just to see how the alien SNU was doing. I've met dozens of people, like literally met dozens of people who have a tattoo of this creature that I created while I was a bored fourth year and that I brought to life just because I wanted to make my sick mom smile a little bit every day. And that experience, especially while so young and feeling so invulnerable, was just incredibly grounding for me. And it's something I've tried to carry as best I can. It's something that I hope to instill in my daughter now. People and experiences are the ones who matter. They are our family is that most basic atomic unit of community. And I didn't appreciate this until I was a father myself, but now I really understand how even from the earliest days, the people who are here supporting you have been thinking about this, have been looking forward to this, and feel so much fulfillment, more than you will understand until maybe one day, God willing, you get to be a parent yourself. And now as a father, I can only hope for many moments like the one that I cringed about at the time, 16 years ago, of my proud parent. But now I'm the proud parent who's, so excited about my own kids' triumphs. And, for instance, it was a really big deal around here the first time our daughter, Olympia, wrote her own name. And look, no offense, Olympia, but, you all graduated from the best university in the United States of America. Hell yeah, right? So that's a hell of an accomplishment. But I'm not going to talk to you as a CEO today. I'd like to talk to you as a history major because, after all, I did declare it here my very first semester as a first year. And it's actually the reason my new company is called 776, which is the year of the first ancient Olympic Games. Thank you, Professor Lendon. Great class, ancient Greek history. And if you want to know what will happen next, study history, right? I'm in the business of technology and investing, but I'm not good at my job because I can predict the future. I'm good at my job because I can learn quickly from the past and the present in order to see where things are trending, in order to connect the dots between all the people and all the experiences that I see. And there have been two major cultural transformations in Western civilization, and both of them followed global pandemics. See where I'm going here? After the bubonic plague came the Renaissance. Kind of a big deal for Western culture and civilization. Then after the Spanish flu came the Roaring 20s. Radical cultural changes happened in America. Mass media, all kinds of things were being revolutionized. And then the party ended with the Great Depression. which helped Hitler convince Germans, and far too many Americans than we'd like to admit, that National Socialism was the solution. Remember, humans did that, all the good and all the bad. Let's learn from both so that we can do more good. And so if there's one thing I'd like to instill in all of you, it's that no one is perfect. I'm not perfect. Sorry to say, neither are you. But that's great. So we shouldn't lionize individuals or man-made institutions, because like the people that created them, they are all inherently flawed. Now, rainbows, they're perfect, especially double rainbows. We should continue to be in awe of rainbows. My daughter is really into rainbows right now. But everything else, a very imperfect human made that. And that's okay. Because that means another imperfect human like you has the power to make it better or replace it entirely. The sooner you start looking at the world this way, the sooner you will be in a position to radically change things, to improve things, to build better systems. Critically looking at things and criticizing them is a part of the process, but don't let that be where it ends. Start building better systems and use those observations to inform how you do it. Keep asking why. It's one of the greatest gifts of having a 3.5-year-old is getting asked endlessly why, because it challenges you as a parent to really think like, okay, why? That first principles thinking is one of the best things you can do. And look, if you find yourself in a situation where you can't make the changes needed, it's okay to walk away, because sometimes that can have an even bigger impact. I know that's true. Now look, after COVID, we will enter a third defining period of cultural transformation, and community will be what defines this era. Look, I know it's the Reddit guy talking about community, but hear me out, okay? Before social media and smartphones, civic engagement was plummeting. Community was on the decline. And if you haven't read Bowling Alone, you should. But something changed. Thanks to the democratization of the World Wide Web, people started communing again, even with other people they had never met before offline. People they'd never seen face to face. People they may only know through a username or an avatar. And people started bonding, falling in love, finding community. And it's happening online as much as it's happening offline. And I'd argue it's even stronger online, where you're able to be your truest self. So this is a very defining trend of this third wave. And I encourage you all to serve as the architects of this next period in our collective history. Okay, as someone who was at the forefront of building digital communities, I am intimately aware of the improvements that need to be made. And I feel a deep responsibility to your generation that we continue to pursue them. We have to do better. It is crucial we get this right. Because when the crash comes, and it will, we need to have a strong enough community, a strong enough nation to withstand it. History has shown us everything is trending toward a more fractured and tribal world right now. And your generation was the first to be truly digital native and grew up affected by all the things we got right and wrong with social media. Yeah, it's complicated. But you all have perspective that I will never have. And you have a full life ahead of you. Please don't squander it. We have such an amazing opportunity. This third cultural shift, this third renaissance, it's happening. Technology like the World Wide Web has enabled it. The framework is there. Probably is going to have something to do with crypto. But most importantly, we have a responsibility to do better, to be better, and to build these experiences that support the people who make our lives everything it is worth living. That's my hope. I hope all of you know everything is made up, except for the rainbows. Everything is made up. And that should be some of the most empowering and exciting news that you hear. Because there are a few universal truths. those people and those experiences. And there is going to be an amazing time over the next 10, 15, 20 years as we see what happens with this new technology, with the power of community, to hopefully create a lot more good. And I don't see any other path forward. We have to figure it out. We have to make it better for my daughter, for her entire generation, for all of us to be able to not just survive, but thrive together as a community, accepting the fact that we are all deeply flawed, but working to bring about the very best in each and every one of us. So thank you, really, from the bottom of my heart. UVA, I'm so grateful. I wish I could be here or there to do it in person, but thank you for giving this opportunity, and congratulations to UVA's graduating class of 2021. Well, Olympia, thank you for dressing up for this.
Thank you.
You look very nice.
Yeah.
So all the people Papa's talking to went to his university, the University of Virginia, the best university.
Oh.
One of the things that we say at UVA is wahoo wah. Can you give me a big wahoo wah?
Wah-wah-wah.
Let's try that again. Hold on. Wahoo wah.
Wah-wah.
Hey, there we go, baby girl. Papa's so proud of you. Thank you for helping me with my commencement speech. Congratulations, class of 2021. You did it.
The Dean of the School of Engineering and Applied Science, Craig H. Benson.
Graduates, I'm honored to be here with you today. Wow, what a year, but we all got through it. Your presence here indicates that you're just as tough as the players who normally play on this field. You tackled numerous obstacles, and you kept bringing your A game, even if you felt like you didn't or weren't going to win. Your presence here is the beginning of a very long winning streak. I can feel it. Why am I so confident? Because you're UVA graduates. At UVA, you learned a great technical skill set, but you learned a lot more as well. You learned people skills and leadership skills that will enable you to do things in your life you could have even imagined. You are prepared to be the innovative and pioneering leaders that collaborate with others to create and share knowledge, solve problems, and design a compelling future for humanity. You have an excellent education. Use that to make the world a better place. I think back on this. I was sitting in a place just like this, nearly 4 decades ago. It's even hard to imagine 4 decades ago. Ready to go off and just take on the world. And it's a long game. Yeah, I started this long game and I ended it trying to make the world a better place. One of the things I've seen in my own life, I saw how a university education transformed my folks and their children. The university education provided opportunity that they could have never have dreamed of, and provided me with opportunity that I could never have dreamed of as well. You have that opportunity right now. It's right in front of you. Use it to make the world a better place. In a few moments, we're going to hear from some of our remarkable graduates about their motivations and their aspirations. But before we watch the first video, and they're going to join us by video, I wanted to share a few things from my own playbook. First, at UVA, you learn that nothing substantial gets done without teamwork. Never forget that. Teamwork is the essence of being successful. Understand you're going to be part of a team, you want to embrace teams, and with teams, you will make the world a better place. Second, you've had this remarkable experience here over the last several years. You've got an education that's second to none. As you go out in your life, use this opportunity to inspire others to get an education. Educations lift people to a whole nother station in life. Pay that idea forward. Third, life is a long game. I said 4 decades since I was in your shoes. Big goals don't get accomplished overnight. If you get frustrated, just stick with it. You've got the background and the intuition and the effort to be successful and to accomplish just about anything you put your mind to. Stick with it. And most importantly, never stop striving to make the world a better place. And finally, some of the same thoughts that we just heard from our speaker. Never forget the people who helped you along the way. Your family, your friends, your mentors. Life is all about the people. Be ready to pay it forward. Congratulations, class of 21. Go Who's.
So growing up, my father was a very big influence, and he told me that once you go to a good university, you'll be set for life.
My parents were graduate students at UVA when I was born, when I was a kid. So there are pictures of me outside graduate student housing as like a very, very small baby. And then I came back here for graduate school. So that was kind of a full circle type moment, I guess.
I have been a UVA fan most of my life, and wanted to be a student. I have always wanted to go to school here.
I feel like when I first got to UVA, I was very hardcore and ambitious, to be honest.
I was a girl from Florida who didn't really know what I wanted to do, just knew that I liked solving problems.
I was a nervous, mid-20s human being when I came to UVA. I was still not quite sure that I was up for the challenge of doing a PhD.
So I remember my first week at the School of Architecture, one of my professors took our class to the rotunda and kind of explained to us this idea of a bigger family and a bigger community that we were part of at the University of Virginia.
I would say I was very ambitious. I was always looking to help people. I was looking to just get involved in the community.
I don't know how to sort of begin to answer the question of how I've changed and who I am now. I found definition of who I am. I found my passions and main pursuit. I found what I wanted to do. I found my voice. I found the ability to really say and be who I am.
I kind of learned a lot of different skills, I would say, especially living skills, especially cooking, all these kind of issues, and even then driving. Another thing I will mention is to decide what I will go next step and finding what I'm interested, especially in my academic studies, under so many kind suggestions from professors.
I think I'm a little bit taller, right? I think I got more confidence in what I'm doing professionally and also personally. I can just walk a little bit taller, as I said, and be good in what I do.
So I grew up in a very rural, small town. I didn't really have examples growing up of the kind of person I wanted to be. So then going from an undergraduate, which really prioritizes homework and tests, to graduate school where I've gotten to work with real nonprofits and real businesses and actually help their work and help their processes. I think that this year has been really pivotal for me and being able to come into my own professionally.
One of the reasons why I was very nervous was because I was a first generation college student and Asian American, and I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to find a group that I felt comfortable with. But after 4 years, I found my group.
I have grown and as a confident individual, especially as a Black woman in STEM. Confidence is one thing that I will definitely need, and I feel like UVA has definitely instilled that in me.
I do believe that it will take until a few months after I leave the program to really consider and reflect upon it. And a lot of that comes not just from my professors in the course material, but from the people in my cohort. I am blown away by how amazing the people in my cohort are. I really admire and respect them, and they've been tremendous.
The Dean of the School of Data Science, Philip E. Bourne.
John, you just said it all. You said it for everybody. Congratulations to our graduates and also to all of you here today, and parents and friends and everyone that's here. I will make this brief because it's, as you can tell, very hot. Now's the time to celebrate. But when the balloons are deflated or flown into the sky, the glasses are empty, it's time to think about the future. And I'm going to focus a bit on that future. Not just your future, but the future of everyone on the planet. My family says, and some of my colleagues say I'm a naysayer, and you're going to hear a bit of that right now. But it's such an important time. And I would like to just make two very brief points about that future. And it draws upon my own personal life experience in the following ways. When I graduated, I moved from an endless blue sky like this summer of Australia to the drizzle and fog of northern England. I lived in a studio apartment where the washing up froze to the sink overnight. But I was not sleeping while it was freezing. I was actually in a room full of computers trying to grab all the computer time I could get. So what are my 2 points? One, when you're at the top of one ladder, as you feel you are today, you're actually at the bottom of another ladder just about to start. So you've just got to keep climbing, and I know you will. I have every faith in you doing that. And two, we heard a little about this already, the computers I was using back then cost millions of dollars and took up entire rooms and were far less powerful than what sits in all of our pockets right now, as we just heard. So how do you apply all of that? Try to think about not what's in your pocket now, but what will be in your pocket and in your lives years from now, and act upon it. I have every belief that the University of Virginia and all who stand behind me and before me have trained you well in thinking to that future and contributing in meaningful ways at a time when there's so much to do. So, architects, we need you to design equitable and sustainable urban landscapes within a changing environment. Engineers, we need your chemical skills to design new and reusable materials for a sustainable future. And mechanical skills to build for a changing planet. And bioengineers, we need you to build for a pandemic-free future where everybody has access to equal access to healthcare and everything they need. And last but not least, the computer science and data scientists, you are part of a digital transformation of society which is upon us. We are in a very changing environment and society. You're increasingly the glue that holds us together, while also holding the virtual weapons that can tear us apart. Opportunities abound to be great and good. Sound familiar? Be socially responsible in all that you do. Act wisely and towards a fair and equitable future for all of us. It's fitting for me, at least, to conclude with a quote from Steve Jobs, who certainly, in my mind anyway, saw the future. Being the richest person in a cemetery doesn't matter. Going to bed at night saying we've done something wonderful, that's what matters. And if I might be so bold as to add a clause to this, oh yes, who's, and have a great and fun time along the way. Congratulations.
To a certain extent, it feels like a strange dream. Have I really met all these people? Did I really take those classes? It was all online, so I did do it. I did meet these people, I did learn. And I'm able to take all of that forward and spread it.
We definitely didn't have the most typical time that
UVA graduates would have at UVA. So I think it's pretty cool that we were able to just push through everything that happened and just continue on and still be able to graduate today.
A unique aspect of being an engineering student at UVA that I'll remember the most is being at the Center for Diversity and Engineering. The people there and the space itself have had such an instrumental role in my time here at UVA.
The thing that is so amazing about the School of Architecture is the kind of late night studio, just communal environment where we're all kind of in this creative frenzy and creating things together. And so I think the thing that the lasting memories are going to be the silly kind of late night, like we need to dance to Beyonce to get up the energy to stay up another hour.
As a data science student, I think I'll remember most all of the collaboration that I got to do this year.
I got to work with almost every member of the student cohort at different times and really learned a lot of valuable lessons from each of them.
Having somebody who you can show your work to, someone that they can be your editor, help you think through different ideas, and have them do the same with you. I think that that's something that I really value.
To be a UVA data science student, you really need to understand the ethical implications of your algorithms.
Everything is engineering. We don't realize how important the things that we design are, the things that we create are, and that they impact literally everyone.
Data science combines those kind of key aspects, math, computers, and real-life application and immersing. And it's about experience, and it's not about one person, but what ways people can connect.
To be a UVA architecture student, it means that you have a sense of mission about what it is architecture can achieve in the world.
It's about making it architecture and more. Everyone has to bring their A game and their individual interests so that we can all have this really vibrant conversation.
I think what it means to be a UVA engineering student is to collaborate, to solve difficult problems, to take on new challenges and have an impact on people or on the environment or on whatever you're trying to do.
You don't only take math and science classes, but there's still a heavy emphasis on writing and reading, and we're prepared in a lot of different areas.
To be a UVA student is to kind of be relentlessly and joyfully passionate about whatever you choose to study. I've met so many people here who are pursuing the things they love, and seeing them be so excited about it in turn makes me excited, and I think that kind of collective excitement is one of the things that makes UVA special.
Being a UVA architecture student is about being a designer and learning from where you are, and for us it's Charlottesville.
This is where I belong, and I've felt that way for a long time, and when I got into this program, that feeling was solidified. This is where I'm supposed to be. This is home.
I feel like I'm walking out with more than just an education. I feel like a whole new person.
The Dean of the School of Continuing and Professional Studies, Alex E. Hernandez.
I loved Sunday mornings as a child. I'd wake up and I'd pad over to my parents' bedroom, and my father would stand in front of the mirror in various states of undress, and he would recite a great speech from US history. Alexander Hamilton, I am flattered with the hope, sir, that we have now found a cure for the evils under which we have so long labored. I propose this Constitution. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And that's all this whole thing is about. We are saying that we are determined to be men. We are determined to be people. We are saying that we are God's children. César Chávez. Por donde quiera que haya raza, por donde quiera que hayan campesinos, nuestro movimiento se va extendiendo como llamas de fuego. Viva la causa! My father did great things at home in various states of undress. He would have crushed it last year on Zoom. If we had a Zoom camera in our house in the 1980s, you would have seen 8-year-old me sitting on the floor, a mess in the background, heard a dog barking off screen. As you reflect on your own experiences in this past year, put your hand on your heart if you took a class while holding a child on your lap, or if you had a child interrupt your class because something absolutely, positively could not wait. Put your hand on your heart if you worked a full shift, or for our essential workers, an extra shift before opening that book or writing that paper. Put your hand on your heart if you earned your degree while caring for someone and tending to their well-being. We see the love you hold in your hearts. We celebrate you and this incredible journey you have made to earn your degree. You would never know, but my father did not earn his bachelor's on the first try. He stopped out. But a university built a new pathway to bring him back to school so he could earn the first of 3 degrees. To create opportunity, our communities need more than one path to reach their dreams. One of the things that makes me so proud to be part of UVA is you can come to grounds as a 17 or 18-year-old and earn your bachelor's. You can finish your bachelor's as a 42-year-old after work while caring for your family. You can come to UVA as a licensed nurse, receive credit for your prior learning, and finish your degree. You can come to UVA as a 63-year-old and walk the lawn in the footsteps of your own children, children who you sacrificed everything for so they could have that opportunity before you. As a public university, we build ladders of opportunity that all people can climb. This is the magic that happens when we reach beyond our grounds and embrace the communities around us. I really miss sitting on the floor of my dad's bedroom. That's where Alexander Hamilton, Cesar Chavez, and Dr. King came alive for me. In their own way, they were each asking, what does it mean to be great and good? I tried my best to be great and good last year, but 2020 taught me a lot about another word that starts with G, grace. The importance of grace towards each other, but most importantly, grace towards ourselves. On behalf of myself, my father, our School of Continuing Professional Studies, this UVA community, I want you to know how truly proud we are of you, and I hope you can find the grace within yourself to take in all the admiration, all the love we have for you on this day. Go Who's.
Next, after UVA, I will be attending graduate school at the University of Pennsylvania.
My next step would be going to Chicago for a new position.
I will be starting in August at Microsoft.
As quickly as I came to Charlottesville, I'm leaving again, this time to go to Leavenworth, Kansas, to work for the Army's Research and Analysis Center.
Starting in June, I'll be working for Reed Hildebrand Landscape Architects in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
I am overjoyed and super excited to go work with the United Network for Organ Sharing based in Richmond. So I will have the opportunity to help save lives by designing new ways to allocate organ donations.
I'm going to get a master's in architecture at University of Southern California, get my license, start being the change I want to see, I guess.
I'm excited to say that I have the opportunity to extend my thesis out. This summer I'll be traveling to Morocco.
I'm going to join a pharmaceutical company with the COVID-19 pandemic. It's really relevant in terms of developing vaccines. That's something that I think will really change the world.
What I would like to accomplish in the future would be to break down the barriers that exist within engineering so it is more accessible to students, to show students more often that it's okay to fail, to show students that it's okay to be emotional, that these aren't negatives at all, that they're key ingredients to success.
Sickle cell is something that runs in my family. It's a genetic disease. The impact that I can make on my community and on the world is by hopefully finding a cure to one of these genetic diseases.
I'm just hoping to use that interdisciplinary skill set that I learned from UVA to kind of create tools to make CS and computer science more accessible to a wider range of people.
The ability to understand communities, have them at the forefront of conversation, especially in designs that affect them directly. I want to sort of de-economize spaces and make them more liberating and free to where people can play, people can protest.
I'm really excited to be going into the data storage research and development. I think there's a lot to be improved in that space in terms of security and energy consumption.
You know, we still have state and non-state actors throughout the world that wish our people harm, that wish people in their own or in neighboring countries harm. What I aim to do is to analyze and inform decision makers to try to make the world a better place.
I wanted my children, I have a 10 and a 14-year-old, I wanted them to see what hard work and dedication and goal setting yields.
One of the main things I want to help do is tutor or fund a program to get Black girls more interested in STEM.
A positive impact that I hope to make in the future is to make sure that my generation has something on the level of Apollo. I want to see a human footprint on Mars. I refuse to leave this Earth otherwise. And I want to make sure that when that happens, I can point and say, I helped make that happen.
We've missed out on a lot of opportunities to get together, to connect with each other, to connect with people who have taught us so much. So I hope we're all able to go out in the world vaccinated and safe and connect with everyone who's contributed to our experience.
Brighter days are ahead and things get better, you know. Life has a lot of moments that shape us, and if you're lucky, you might pick up some wisdom along the way.
And I feel comfortable where I am in a good way, but not too comfortable. I'm still being challenged, but I'm ready to be the same kind of uncomfortable I was when I first came to UVA.
At the end, I don't know if I can change the world by myself, so I would just try to do what I can, help one person, individual at a time, and hopefully they in turn will help others.
Graduating from UVA feels like I'm unstoppable. I feel like, here we go, you know? I feel like this has been a great time, but it's only allowed for the world to open up.
With gratitude, the Dean of the School of Architecture, Isla L. Berman.
Welcome, graduates, parents, family, and friends. I cannot tell you how happy I am to see all of you here today. I often say to incoming students that one of the most amazing things about the design disciplines is that every day we get to rethink, reimagine, and remake the world around us. We create fictions that become realities the moment that we build and share them. So what is possible becomes actual, and what was once only virtual becomes real. All of our disciplines at UVA enable this, not only by advancing knowledge and skills, but more by fostering creativity and innovation and building the capacity for imagination in order to transform and improve the world around us. The only things that limit our ability to realize this transformation are the limits that we carry around inside us. These are the limits that we overcome through an education that inspires us to dream, to imagine, and to create. The art of dreaming is therefore the first step in the art of world making, which happens when we embed our ideas and concretize our imagination out there in the world in order to contribute to the making of its and our collective future. As an architecture dean, I spend a lot of time thinking about the power of making and about the ways in which ideas are materialized into the very things that constitute our culture and structure our civilization. This need to express and to create is not only how we project ourselves into the world, but it's also how we remake the world and bring about our own shared evolution. Elaine Scarry, in her writing on the making and unmaking of the world, wrote that every artifact, whether made, manufactured, or written, will be found to contain within its interior a material record or trace of the nature of the human life out of which it is made, and from which it in turn derives its power to act on that life and recreate it. That is, that we project our ideas and imagination out into the world through and in the things that we make, and then these things, the environments and cities, the objects and devices, the codes, texts, and books that we create have a reciprocal effect on us. We created gods and cathedrals in the hope of making ourselves both more humble and more divine. We created a constitution in order to reconstruct ourselves as a civilized nation and a people. With tools and machines, we turned our hands into shovels and bulldozers, our eyes into telescopes and microscopes, and we extended ourselves into the world while simultaneously making ourselves more expansive, more physically powerful, and faster. With computers, data, and coding, we apparently made ourselves smarter. And with the internet, we sent our eyes and ears out into the atmosphere while collapsing the globe through instantaneous planetary communication. We therefore make things in the world not only to remake the reality around us, but perhaps more profoundly in order to remake ourselves. What we create defines not only the complexity of our world and how we live, but also who we are. So as graduates, at this very important juncture in your lives, you're ready now to ask yourselves, what are the things that you will do, imagine, and make in the future? And how will this reshape and remake not only the world around us, but also who we ourselves as individuals, as a community, and as a culture become? There are an infinite number of opportunities for each of you outside the boundaries of this university. Seek out those that will enable you to continue to learn and be creative. Do something meaningful, make something beautiful, and have a positive impact on the world around you. I truly believe that your education at UVA has empowered you to do so and to be the agents of change that we so need in this world. Project yourselves toward that future with humility and with curiosity, and also with great passion and courage. We are not only extremely proud of all of you, but also inspired by you and by what you have accomplished over your time here. We cannot wait to see how you will create a more just and compelling world for all of us. Remaking the world, however, is something that we were never meant to do alone. Remember to thank all of those who lifted you up, your parents, your teachers, your mentors, and your peers for their role in helping to get you to where you are today. Take time to celebrate your accomplishments and go out into the world and be the absolute best you can be. Class of 2021, my deepest and most heartfelt congratulations to each and every one of you.
Please turn your attention to the screens for a special reading by Rita Dove, the Henry Hoynes Professor of Creative Writing and the former U.S. Poet Laureate.
After these final exercises have concluded, upon graduation, some of you will be headed home from your temporary academic shelter here at the University of Virginia. Many may already be at home watching the ceremonies via Zoom, while still others are off to new adventures, ready to make new homes along the way. No matter whether you are coming home, staying home, or preparing to leave wherever or whatever home is, this poem is for all of you. Congratulations, Class of 2021. My mother phones to tell me it's time for planting. My father has built a bed, nothing fancy, mind you. Wooden planks painted yellow. That's nice, I reply, dipping my brights as I slow for a curve. And since it's your flower, she goes on, it seems the least you ought to do is come home and plant it yourself. Home, I say, marveling. Back, she amends. I break for a deer, one of the many who ravage seedlings in our neighborhood. Silent marauders by moonlight, crowding the edge of the road as if to declare this was our home once, and we'll eat anything we please. All right, I tell her, I'm on my way. I strike out the calendar, pack sweaters and music, snacks and a thermos for the drive home. 8 hours backwards into autumn, where my father stands in a baseball cap, arms crossed, surveying his handiwork. A picture frame set in the dirt, I think, kissing his cheek as I take the trowel and get down on my bad knee to dig. Not too wide, he says, but make it deep, 4 to 6 inches. The bulb is hairy, wizened like a baby chick. I place it beak first into its new home, gently spooning the earth back in, like the last child at the beach who lingers as the day cools, wanting to leave everything as she found it, patting the sand down, making it right.
President of the University.
It is time to confer degrees. Who is ready to graduate? Before we do confer degrees, I'd like to recognize the 247 students in the class of 2021 who have earned their baccalaureate degrees in 3 years. As a symbol of their achievement, these students are wearing orange stoles today. Will those of you who are graduating early please stand so we can give you a well-deserved round of applause. I would also like to recognize the nearly 600 students who are the first in their families to graduate this weekend. As a fellow first-generation student, I'd like to say how delighted I am for all of you and how much I admire your accomplishments. Can everyone please give a round of applause to our first-generation students and those in the audience who have helped them get this far. Over the course of this weekend, we will award to the class of 2021 4,505 baccalaureate degrees, 467 first professional degrees, 2,522 graduate degrees, including 306 PhDs, 10 EDDs, 2,183 master's degrees, 3 education specialist degrees, 17 Doctor of Nursing Practice degrees, 3 Doctors of Juridical Sciences degrees, and a partridge in a pear tree. I'm kidding on that last part. The deans of the schools will present the candidates for degrees. Then, under the authority vested in the general faculty and delegated to me, I will award the degrees.
The Dean of the School of Engineering and Applied Sciences.
Candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Engineering, Master of Computer Science, Master of Engineering, Master of Material Science in Engineering, Master of Science, or Bachelor of Science. Please rise and remain standing. President Ryan, as Dean of the School of Engineering, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Engineering, Master of Computer Science, Master of Engineering, Master of Material Science in Engineering, Master of Science, or Bachelor of Science.
I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Engineering and Applied Science, Master of Computer Science, Master of Engineering, Master of Material Science and Engineering, Master of Science, or Bachelor of Science, with all the rights and privileges thereunto belonging. I charge you to pursue discoveries and inventions for the betterment of humankind, to work at the frontiers of applied knowledge, and to communicate the excitement of science to the next generation. Congratulations.
The graduates of the School of Engineering and Applied Science will please be seated. The Dean of the School of Architecture.
The candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the Constructed Environment, Master of Architecture, Master of Architectural History, Master of Landscape Architecture, Master of Urban and Environmental Planning, Bachelor of Architectural History, Bachelor of Science in Architecture, or Bachelor of Urban and Environmental Planning will please rise and remain standing. Mr. President, as Dean of the School of Architecture, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the Constructed Environment, Master of Architecture, Master of Architectural History, Master of Landscape Architecture, Master of Urban and Environmental Planning, Bachelor of Architectural History, Bachelor of Science in Architecture, or Bachelor of Urban and Environmental Planning.
I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the Constructed Environment, Master of Architecture, Master of Architectural History, Master of Landscape Architecture, Master of Urban and Environmental Planning, Bachelor of Architectural History, Bachelor of Science in Architecture, or Bachelor of Urban and Environmental Planning, with all of the rights and privileges thereunto belonging. I charge you to embark upon and encourage the prudent development and rigorous study of the built human spaces through your research, teaching, and design. Congratulations.
It's now official. The graduates of the School of Architecture will please be seated.
The Dean of the School of Continuing and Professional Studies.
The candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Interdisciplinary Studies or Bachelor of Professional Studies in Health Sciences Management will please rise and remain standing. Mr. President, as Dean of the School of Continuing and Professional Studies, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements for the degree of Bachelor of Interdisciplinary Studies or Bachelor of Professional Studies in Health Sciences Management.
I confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Interdisciplinary Studies or Bachelor of Professional Studies in Health Sciences Management, with all the rights and privileges thereunto belonging. I commend your commitment to lifelong learning, and I charge you to continue in that spirit as you further your education, pursue your career, and strive to reach your goals. Congratulations.
The graduates of the School of Continuing and Professional Studies will please be seated.
The Dean of the School of Data Science.
The candidates for the degree of Master of Science in Data Science will please rise and remain standing. Mr. President, as Dean of the School of Data Science, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements for the degree of Master of Science in Data Science.
I confer upon you the degree of Master of Science in Data Science with all the rights and privileges thereunto belonging, and charge you to use your knowledge and skills to continue exploring, analyzing, and safeguarding data to ethically serve society. Congratulations.
The graduates of the School of Data Science will please be seated.
Please turn your attention to the screens for a special musical performance.
What's up, graduating class of 2021 at the University of Virginia? This is Brandy Carlisle, And I just wanted to drop in on your graduation ceremony and say that to graduate in such a challenging and tough, crazy, just ridiculous year is such an accomplishment. And I'm really happy for y'all. And so I want to sing you a song. You're feeling nervous, aren't you, boy? With your quiet voice and impeccable style. Don't ever let them steal your joy and your gentle ways to keep them from running wild. They can kick dirt in your face, dress you down and tell you that your place is in the middle when they hate the way you shine. I see you tugging on your shirt, trying to hide inside of it and hide how much it hurts. You let them laugh while they can, let them spin, let them scatter in the wind. I've been to the movies, I've seen evidence, and the jokes on them. Yeah. You get discouraged, don't you, girl? It is your brother's world for a while longer. You gotta dance with the devil on a river to beat the stream. I call it living the dream, call it kicking the ladder. They come to kick dirt in your face, to call you weak and then displace you. Have to carry in your baby on your back across the desert. I see your eyes behind your hair, and you're looking tired, but you don't look scared. You let them laugh while they can, let them spin, let them scatter in the wind. I have been to the movies, I've seen evidence, and the jokes on it. You let them laugh while they can, let them spin, let them scatter in the wind. I have been to the movies, I've seen evidence, and the jokes on. All the jokes on them. Yeah, it is. Well, I know it is. Graduating class of 2021, congratulations.
And now we will hear remarks from Patricia K. Epps. It's almost over.
Greetings to the extraordinary class of 2021. I'm Patricia Epps, and I'm chairman of the board of the University of Virginia Alumni Association, and a triple who. It is my privilege to be among the first to welcome you as alumni of this great university. As of today, you are members of our 183-year-old organization, made up of over 250,000 proud UVA grads worldwide. We are a community that is excited to welcome and support you. My own connection with UVA goes back 50 years ago, when I was a first-year student in the college. 1970-71 was also a unique and challenging school year because it was the first year that UVA opened its undergraduate schools to women. For me, it was the start of a lifelong connection to this very special place. I hope you will have the same experience. Wherever your careers and lives may take you, you always have a home at Alumni Hall. I hope you'll come back for reunions, keep up through the Virginia Magazine, and stay connected by taking advantage of the many opportunities offered by the university and its organizations. I also hope that you continue to connect with and take care of each other. If history is a guide, then the relationships formed with your fellow alumni will be cherished, lasting, and even life-changing. As a token of our congratulations, we have a class of 2021 keepsake print for you to pick up as you leave Scott Stadium. It also makes a great stand-in diploma for all those photos you're going to be taking this weekend. On behalf of the entire UVA alumni community, congratulations, class of 2021, and wahoo wah.
President of the university.
Okay, we're really close now. I would like to thank Ms. Epps for those remarks. We at UVA, as you probably are already aware, are fortunate to have an incredibly strong and tight-knit community of alumni whose time on grounds profoundly shaped their lives. And I'm grateful that so many of those alumni have done so much to give others the same experience. Those of you who are graduating today have benefited from the generosity of alumni, parents, and friends in ways large and small. And I'd like to thank all of you who have joined this tradition through your class gift. I'd also like to thank our Grand Marshal and all of our performers and speakers, and a special thank you to Alexis Ohanian and Olympia for reminding us that we are all whos. I have one housekeeping item before we conclude, and that is to ask you to stay in your seats until the platform party has exited the field, and then proceed to exit using the tunnels. At this point, I'm fully aware that I am the only person keeping you from celebrating with your family and friends, which is why I'd like to spend roughly the next 45 minutes or so talking about our global challenges and how your time here has prepared you to meet them. I am kidding, although it is true that you are prepared. Instead, I'd like to leave you with one simple and brief request, which is to remember what happened here. When I say that, I'm not talking just about remembering a specific class you took or an event that happened, although I hope you remember those things. Instead, I'd like you to remember the feeling of being here, in this place, with these people, and carry it with you. Remember what it felt like to be surrounded by a diverse group of fellow students who were as compassionate as they were talented. Remember what it felt like to explore in ways you never had before, and to learn from professors who loved a subject so much you couldn't help but get excited about it too. Remember what it felt like to live and learn in Jefferson's academical village and in a community of trust and honor. Remember what it felt like to live among your friends. You don't need a lot of friends in life, but you do need some rock-solid ones. And I hope and trust you've met some of them here, maybe even a future spouse, as I did. Remember what it felt like to build bridges, reaching out to get to know someone or some place different, and how it ended up changing you. Remember how it felt to serve others and the satisfaction that came from devoting your time and energy to something bigger than yourself. Remember how it felt the first time you realized that in streaking, as in life, it's important to leave enough gas in the tank for the return trip. If you remember all of this, I have no doubt that you will carry the very best of this place with you as you face with courage and purpose the road ahead, which will be at various times and various turns, beautiful, tragic, joyous, challenging, and magical. And should that road ever lead you back to Charlottesville, as I hope it will, please know that we will leave the lights on for you. Finally, I hope you remember the words to this song, which you are about to sing for the very first time as graduates of the University of Virginia, accompanied by a fellow alum. Thank you and congratulations, class of 2021.
Hey, you crazy who's, class of 2021. What a year, good Lord. But you made it, and I am so proud of each and every one of you, and I cannot wait to see what you put out into this reopened world of ours. You know, graduation reminds me of when I graduated from UVA back in That weekend, my car actually got towed because I parked it in the president's spot on the lawn. So don't do that, but also don't worry because it all worked out. So let's bring this puppy home with a rendition of the good old song, one of the most often requested songs that I get. So here we go. Join me, will you? Wahoo, Virginia, hooray, hooray, hey!